Welcome back to our homestead. I kept hearing this noise downstairs, and it was like things getting slammed around and all kinds of noises that I didn't recognize. Well, I was talking on the phone, so I couldn't go investigate, but when I did, I went to go down the stairs, and I was like, what is all this? All the stuff, one of my sons had been slinging it up the stairs, and I was like, what is this pile of stuff? Well, turns out that Adam found the bin of bulk food that we had stored in a bin, which got buried. This is what happens when you just have stuff upon stuff and you don't have a way to deal with it. So I knew that there was food that we had stored. I think this might have been stored during the pandemic. Rice and beans mostly. And so now I'm bringing this stuff up to put into my pantry, and I don't know if I'm gonna find things that have gone bad, like chips probably aren't any good, but they were buried, so what were we supposed to do? And I'm gonna take you downstairs and peek around the corner because it looks very different. Not clean yet, but rearranged. One way to get me to deal with it fast is by putting it right in my way. We do like to stock ahead on bulk items like rice, and this is a big bag of beans. And I am not going to try to put these all in my jars behind me because most of my jars are full for one reason, but it can stay in the bag, and I think I'll put them in a bucket. I'm glad that we have different styles of organizing and decluttering and cleaning. For me, I have to go through every little thing to the minute detail, and I have to know where it's gonna go. And so it takes me a very long time to do this stuff. Adam can move the whole place, stack it up, move it around, because he's not making these decisions about it, he's just moving it. More items on the steps means more things to find a home for. Let's shove it in the pantry. I only had one jar available that I could fill, but fill it I did. Down around this corner at the end of the steps is the area that I had previously cleared. Now it is filled with buckets, but you should see the rest of the shop. I came down and tried to help him with his organizing effort, but he kind of had a system and I didn't quite understand it, so I ended up just lending a hand to help, but mostly letting him do it. There are days when you're the star of the project, and there are days when you are just in the sidelines. And today I'm on the sidelines. The star of this show is Adam. He's doing a great job. I don't think he's a declutterer. I think he is a mover and a shaker, and we need both kinds. I'm not a mover and a shaker. I'm more of like, I get down into the minutia and it takes me so long. So we need people like him who can just come in and bulldoze it, and then I will have an opportunity later to just do it piece by piece and figure it out, because I was sort of lost down there, not really knowing how I could help the best. So one thing I can do well is I can go pick up equipment. So I'm on my way to pick up the lift that we're going to need for the sheetrock that holds it up there so that this whole process can continue. And I guess it's going to sort of be a pause in our decluttering because everything has been shifted. Everything that I went through has kind of like been mix it up. So I'm calling Uncle, and I'm going to work on other areas while he's doing the sheetrock, and then I'll come back and carry on, keep the momentum up. Let's look behind these buckets. Now, unless you had seen this shop before and how much was crammed into this space, including on this bench, you would not know how much this is really in the clear. This basement area looks a lot different now. Adam has been bulldozing everything, and it's looking pretty amazing actually. He has got everything shifted over to this side of the shop area, and so this area he's going to be working on first with the drywall, and this, we haven't seen this part of the area for a long time, many years. So he's completely cleared this workbench off, and this is going to be dismantled. This whole thing is going to have a complete overhaul. So the decluttering will be paused and the construction will be continued. Nice to see the progress. Also nice to see things flying through the air behind me because he's still at work. I did end up getting the thing that's rattling around in the back of my car. That red thing in about 6 pieces is supposed to be the key to hanging the drywall without losing our minds or our limbs. So the guy took it apart. I said, I'm glad I'm not the one who has to be trusted to put it back together, because I don't know if I could manage all that. He assured me that it's not that hard. So we have that. I'm almost home. I'm kind of looking forward to what Adam has gotten done while I've been gone. We're doing the ceiling of our garage area, which is downstairs basement type area. So that is a heat shield. We got the Fire Rock sheetrock, and so that helps. We have the wood stove in the basement, and so that is our primary heat source, and that is what was recommended. On the walls, we are not doing tongue and groove like we've done in much of the house. We are just doing rough cut, kind of rough boards, and I think it's probably going to be mixed wood. And our philosophy is, you know what, it's a garage, who really cares? We're going to be hanging tools on it, hanging shelves, and so we just need something to cover the walls for safety and to hold the insulation in, but we don't really need it to be beautiful, and that is our plan. I don't know if we have all the wood yet for that project. I know we have it at the yard, but as far as whether we have it at our house, I think the answer is no. And so that'll be a project for another day, collecting more wood, hauling it home, stacking it, and then using it. But we're trying to kind of conquer one thing at a time, and so this next week it's going to be sheetrocking the ceiling. And because we live on a country road, when I'm driving home, sometimes I see the goats out in the road, and then they scoot back into their pen like good little goats. Are you good little goats? He's a friendly one. Hello, goats. They are all super curious about who this person is driving by. Let's see what work they've done while I've been gone. Wide open space is something that we haven't experienced. Of course, on the edges, it's not too wide open. The materials that we needed for this job are basic building materials. We got 30 sheets of 5/8 inch 4x8 sheetrock, and this is the FireGuard X gypsum board, and so that's what we're using on the ceilings. For our ceilings down here in the workshop area, garage area, we purchased 30 of these 4x8 sheets, and I think we're going to use them all. We obviously have to have knives and levels and things to hold it, but we also purchased this drywall lift, and you can get these at Harbor Freight or Home Depot. You can rent them at Lowe's or Home Depot. It was not going to be cost effective for us to rent it because the price per day, we knew that we weren't going to hit it all in one day. So we found this on Marketplace at half the price, and that was we were satisfied with that. So tape measures, basic things like that. We also had to get a bucket of drywall screws. I'll show you those. We're using 6 by 1 5/8 inch drywall screws, and these are the coarse thread drywall screws. So we ended up getting a whole bucket because the price was only just a little bit more to get a billion of them rather than a small amount. These screws have a Phillip head, and so obviously that's the kind of bit we're using on our drivers over here. And we have various types of drivers. I know we have a Milwaukee one and a Cobalt one, and it looks like we also have a DeWalt, so every color of driver. Let me just photobomb my own picture while I see what they're doing. Now we're getting to the point where they're actually working on hanging it, but first they have to drop the ceiling down a little bit where all the plumbing pipes are. It may be kind of hard to tell in these pictures, but the plumbing pipes in some areas actually protrude a little bit below the floor joist level, and so they are making this extension to hang the sheetrock on so that the plumbing pipes can be completely concealed. From here it's pretty cut and dry, no pun intended. Create the ceiling to screw the drywall onto and just carry on until they have that finished, and then after that comes the drywall. This middle section of the garage between these two beams going across is the only section where this ceiling needs to be lowered, thankfully, because it does take a good bit of time to get it done, get it in there tight, but once it's done, things will go a lot smoother. It's always good to have a construction manager, and Zoomer fits the bill today. He's just keeping an eye on things as they happen.
Can it go that way?
Meanwhile, upstairs, Andrew's just doing a project in the bathroom, doing some caulking and little fix-it things that have to be done periodically, while the other guys are downstairs, so I'm going to go check with them and see what they've done. This drywall lift that we were able to purchase used on Marketplace is absolutely essential. We were thinking about renting one or actually buying one at Harbor Freight, but we ended up finding one at half price, and so it's in perfect condition and it makes the job possible. I found out quickly just how heavy these pieces of sheetrock are, and they would be impossible to hold up while we attach them to the ceiling. And we have 10-foot ceilings, so there's that factor too. It just makes things a lot safer and just makes it go so much faster. If you've watched us for any period of time, you've probably already figured out that we're not professionals, but we do the best we can, and we've been learning so much, and we appreciate every opportunity to learn a new skill. At the end of the day, that first section was completed, and that's good work because of all the building that they had to do, figuring out, and definitely the lift. We had to have that. It made it possible. I don't think we could have done it without it. And so we were happy that we were able to find that on Marketplace for half the price of what it would have been at Harbor Freight. And so that was a good thing, worth the drive, which wasn't even a long drive. It was just into town. So we're happy about this. It's good to see that things are getting done. The ceiling is getting covered. And so next we're just going to be carrying on until this whole ceiling is all white. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you checking in with our progress. Please subscribe if you haven't, and have a great day.